Alright, the black phone rings and it might tell us how many pools of blood this movie got. But we'll see. If not, I'll let you know. But first, let's jump into the IMDb plot to start off. After being abducted by a child killer and locked in a soundproof basement, a 13-year-old boy starts receiving calls on a disconnected phone. From the killer's previous victims. Interesting. Okay. Kind of interesting setup there, like I just said. But I guess the first thing to kind of talk about here is, it's been this movie's been out for a while. Before I got to do this review and obviously see this movie. Disappointed I didn't get to see it, right when it came out. I will say it was one of the most anticipated movies in my mind that I really, really looked forward to seeing right when I saw the previews and so forth, some of the trailers and talk about it, and from the people who did the movie. So, I'll let you guys kind of know that, I really had some high expectations for the movie headed into this. Sometimes that works in the movie's favor, and sometimes it doesn't when it comes time to give it the pools of blood ratings. So this one had was up there already to begin with, so a challenge for it. It's kind of strange. It's like you have high expectations for the movie, but not really sure what is going to happen in the movie. Obviously, you heard a little bit of it right there in the summary, but to kind of go through a little bit of it, I'll throw a spoiler alert out there, but I don't think I'm going to go into it, just in case anything tips off. But I don't think I'll give away too much, but I don't know that there's much to give away. I don't know, it depends. Sometimes it's hard to figure that out. But anyway, getting into it, you have a brother and a sister here, and they're the main characters here. And we have a movie that also is going to touch on some issues and some sensitive issues and some important issues. And as I say, sometimes in horror remakes and so forth, I get annoyed by it sometimes when they bring those up. But here, this is a new, fresher movie, so I don't mind, and it's a central theme here and part of what's going on, so it's fine. And one of those themes is obviously child abduction, which we mentioned there, and also child abuse, bullying at home and bullying with each other, and you kind of they do a pretty good job of not shying away from that in this movie. The two kids' father is having a hard go of it. Their mom is no longer with them, and he's having a hard go of it, hard time raising the children because of that, and the children are having their own issues, and really you have this movie's kind of set a little bit further back in time. I didn't say the time period, but it is not necessarily now, and so you're having you would think that the brother would be the strong brother protecting the sister, but in this movie it's kind of flipped. The young sister is smart, and she's aggressive, and she's not afraid to throw it up, especially when it comes time to her brother. So there's some interesting scenes here. You're going to see a scene where she kind of gets in trouble at home, and her dad is going to punish her, and you kind of see the brother's reaction to that, and as much as he would like to stand up, he just can't. And where you see the sister is maybe other times more able to stand up to the father and knows to kind of push the limits, where the brother is more maybe submissive. Like if he even starts getting out of line, he kind of reels it back. You're going to see them at school, and you're going to see the brother be bullied by other kids, and the sister is, again, going to stand up, not going to be afraid to take a punch for her brother, even though she's smaller than him and so forth. She's not going to be afraid to mix it up. And you're also going to see another interesting scene where two kids are going to be basically surrounded by a bunch of other kids in the schoolyard and, have a pretty big fight. And one of those kids is going to be pretty brutal to the other one. He becomes an important character in the film as well, because he's friends with the brother. But that's a scene in itself to see, because it's pretty brutal, and to watch these kids go at it, and like I said, one kid be very brutal to the other. Maybe you grew up and were raised and been around that, so maybe it doesn't bother you, but at the end of the day, it should, because kids shouldn't be doing that. They should be going to school and learning and stuff, and not having fights to that. But so bullying is an issue as well. So you're going to see those kind of things be an important piece of the movie, and but and that is horror in itself. But the real horror of it is that there's a guy around town and he's taking kids, and it's being noticed, but you really feel that you'd hope that more people would do more stuff about it. But it's not, they're not finding him as quick as you'd like, so that's a problem. He's abducted several kids along the way. Some of the characters, like I said, you're going to meet. Some of them you're going to learn about later that you didn't necessarily meet. And eventually the brother here is going to end up being one of these kidnapped kids. And then the audience is going to see from his experience what it is to be kidnapped by this person. And kind of as this unfolds, you're going to see his experience and his interaction with the killer. You're going to see the sister, and the sister, like I said, kind of as the picture I kind of just painted a little bit about her. She's going to take it upon herself to find her brother. The father, like I said, is having a difficult time and is a little bit checked out. So, it's hard for him to kind of figure out, what it is to save his son, or is his son really missing, or what is going on here. So it's the sister that's really going to put forth the effort. And she has a little bit of help. I'm not going to say, where she gets the help. I'll let you guys see that if you haven't seen it yet. But she's going to get a little help and maybe a little luck and so forth like that to kind of help solve the situation, fix the situation. But yeah, the strangeness is going to come when there's a phone on the wall where the boy is being held and it rings, but it only rings for him. And the killer keeps telling him that, hey, that phone is broken, but somebody is calling him. And lo and behold, it is the other kids that have been caught by this guy and have been killed by this guy. Creepy in itself, definitely sad also. As they call, you're going to learn about some of them and what happened to them. And they're going to each kind of contribute to trying to help this kid get out of this situation, but without directly telling him. It's not, hey, I'm calling you to tell you if you do this, you're going to escape. It's not that simple. It's more like they're giving him tools, and he's got to put it all together to kind of figure out how he's going to get out of the situation, and can he get out of the situation. He's not going to know all the people that calls. He's going to know some of them. And, that's kind of the way it goes. And again, it kind of adds to, the creepiness in a way, the sadness in a way. both for him and then when you're watching, what he's going through and so forth. Um, the killer, I don't want to say too much. I think eventually when it's revealed, they don't, it's not overkill on trying to make it a big secret. At the end of the day, it's just, what it is. Some dumbass, guy who's likes killing kids for whatever enjoyment that he gets out of it. Sad things that we see all the time on the news. Apparently, what he's done and what he's doing, he's done a pretty good job of it. So far with the kids he's taken, and he's been able to do whatever it is that he's needed to do or wanted to do, and so forth. So far, and so he's just a creepy asshole at the end of the day. They will at some point kind of give some background information, maybe play a little game with you about who the killer is. Have you seen the killer without the mask? He has a really cool mask. I'll say that. I like the mask. I definitely think that's one thing that gets you in the trailer, and the way that he kind of poses with the mask and so forth. So he has a really cool mask and so forth. So obviously you don't know who's behind that mask. So there are people to see during the movie, and you're kind of wondering, are they the killer? But I don't think, the movie's focus is not totally, solving who this person is. It is more focused on the boy and putting together the pieces in the phone call to find out how he's going to escape. And, I don't want to call it like a coming of age movie, but, the way they set it up and like the way I told you with the brother and the sister, the brother has a long way to go as far as gaining some strength and being a man and growing up and so forth. And, he kind of goes through that process while he's down there. You kind of see it the way he is versus the sister. The sister probably would have been a lot more aggressive, and would that have pissed off the killer, and he probably would have killed her a lot sooner and moved on to the next child. I mean, that's just my guess. But because the brother is a little more submissive and calm and whatever, and so forth, it the killer doesn't have to be as quick to, hey, he's a problem, I'm going to get rid of him. But it's not all about solving the killer, but they're going to give you little clues, a little bit of background. They're going to try to throw you off a little bit. There's an interesting side story that kind of goes behind him and where he is and so forth. I don't want to get into too much details, because then I think I'm reaching spoiler territory. I don't want to spoil too much of the background of the killer and what they do in that regard. But yeah, it is more focused on the boy and getting the tools from these phone calls to eventually, hopefully, escape this killer before he eventually decides to kill him and move on to his next victim. And the sister is going to be on a great search to try to find him, because nobody else seems to be able to do it. It is a very, it's a pretty good dramatic scene at the end. Very good scene in the final act. An interesting thing, like I said, I don't want to give it away. Kind of interesting, some interesting things that happen there, and kind of when you find out things about, like I said, the killer and where they are and that kind of thing. So, kind of getting towards the whole wrap up here. High expectations. I didn't think the movie was going to be kind of this way. Like I said, I don't know what I was expecting. I didn't think that it was going to be this kind of movie. Obviously, like I said, it touches on important stuff and so forth, and you kind of get involved and wrapped up with the poor kid and what he's going through and their situation, and then obviously then getting kidnapped on top of it. I guess, maybe in my mind, since I'm a slasher guy, I thought maybe we were going to go more down the slasher avenue or more of that. more of that kind of avenue. But he's kidnapping kids, and the other ones we really don't get to see much of what he does with them. We get to hear from them on the phone more about what he does than what we actually get to see what he did to them. And that leaves a little bit to the imagination and so forth. So maybe in my mind I was kind of thinking they were going to go that direction. I didn't know that the kid, I kind of figured the kids were going to be so involved and so into it. Obviously, we know with kids in horror, we don't go around killing them a lot and so forth. So obviously, this is not going to be a lot of blood and guts, a lot of kills and so forth like this. So yeah, like as far as expectations for the movie and wanting to see it were high. But it is none of that. That's not it. Just because he has a really cool mask and does weird and creepy things in the trailer, doesn't mean this is a movie where a masked killer is going around killing a bunch of people. This is not Scream or something else. So you have that. So in that respect, it was a little bit of a letdown. When again the high expectations were there, I really thought that this would end up in my top 10 movies of the year. Before I was hoping that when I would see that would be the movie. If you've watched my other reviews and followed them through, many a time I complained that there was no movie in 2022 that really stood out, and I said that's the movie, as opposed to some of the prior years. When I watched this movie, I was really hoping that this would be that movie. But it wasn't. Not to take anything away from this movie. It's definitely worth watching. It's very well done. The acting is very good. It just didn't kind of turn out the way, as far as what happened in the movie, the way I thought. So in that case, I didn't like it as much. Kind of confusing way to say it. Solid movie, very good movie. Definitely worth seeing. I definitely recommend if you have not seen this to watch it. Yeah, it's a tough topic. Might be a tough topic for some. So you can take that at heart if that's not, you're not into movies where kids get kidnapped and kids are bullied and so forth. If that's not your thing, but it is. Like I said, it's worth seeing. It just didn't turn out the way I thought. So with that, I'm still going to give it 3.5 pools of blood because, again, a very good, solid movie. I enjoyed the movie. But, kind of going into it, I was hoping for 4 or more. But, like I said, things in the movie or what I thought was going to happen or what I maybe hoped was going to be the movie just wasn't the movie, and the movie was something else. But within itself, it was still a solid and very good movie. Hopefully that makes all sense to you. If not, go to the comment section and complain and say that I'm crazy, and that is fine. And no, I don't encourage bullying, but whatever, I can take it. Been doing this a long time. Anyway, 3.5 pools of blood out of 5. Definitely recommend you see it. I don't know what your expectations are going into it if you haven't seen it. But, hopefully that kind of gives you a clue of where my thoughts were, what I thought the movie was going to be, what it turned out to be, and then, some of the stuff that happened into it. So horrorsquaredreviews.blogspot.com is where you can find all of my reviews, written and video. Obviously, if you're interested in the video reviews, subscribe, like, notification, all those things, thumbs up, thumbs down, all those kind of things if you want, that everybody tells you to do. If not, no big deal, no problem. Twitter, Facebook information down below as well. Same there. Follow, don't follow, like, don't like. Feel free to reach out to me, talk horror. I'm up to it. You have something you want me to review, please feel free to reach out, ask me. If I can, I will. And the comment section down below, like I said, What did you think? Did it meet your expectations? I did see it on some people's top list, and like I said, good, solid movie, just wasn't what I expected, and therefore just kind of falls a little short of that, the topper realm for me, but definitely probably in the second tier. But again, I encourage, if you have not seen this movie, to watch it. If that, kind of, the themes don't bother you. So, with that, I guess I will catch you on the next review, horror fans, and don't pick up any phones. That's why we don't have those kind of phones anymore.